Hi everyone, welcome to the Kidney Talkies. I'm your host Deepthi, a kidney transplant survivor and a data engineer. Today I have a special guest with me, Mario. Hi Mario.
How you doing, Dipti?
I'm
First
doing
and
good.
foremost, thank you for the invite, and it's a pleasure to meet you through this platform. And I'm looking forward to our conversation about kidney health and share our stories.
Perfect. Mario, why don't we start with your introduction and then I'll give my own introduction.
Okay, so essentially, I'm a two-time kidney transplant recipient. I um, I was on dialysis for 10 years prior to that, so I have a long history as a kidney patient, a chronic kidney disease patient. However, my story is not limited to that, but I like to start with that. I always share my story when it comes to kidney disease. So I was born with a congenital anomaly, which means that I was born with fused kidneys. So my kidneys were fused together and they were in the shape of U. So they call that horseshoe-shaped kidney because of the shape. And it is considered a congenital anomaly because that's how babies are born, right? It happens during the development when you're in the womb. And that's what happened to me. Based on statistics that I've read, only out of 500 people are born that way. So I guess I was the lucky one, right? So from there, I didn't have any major issues in terms of my health, but I did had issues with urinating blood when I was young. And through a scan, they were able to detect and diagnose me with that congenital disease with horseshoe-shaped kidney. So it was through uh, a CAT scan or something of that sort. And from there, I lived most of my life. I lived a healthy lifestyle, and it wasn't until my 20s where I began to really start to feel the symptoms of kidney disease. So the kidney function began to deteriorate, and uh, some of the symptoms that I felt were tired, just feeling tired overall, and couldn't sleep. Also, foam. I saw a lot of foam in the urine, and that's what happened to me. And those were the early signs: headaches, and then vomiting. And those symptoms got gradually worse. And eventually, I had to go on dialysis. But I was only on dialysis for 11 months, so less than a year. And my mom decided to donate her kidney, one of her kidneys. So um, unfortunately, after 2 years, my body rejected the kidney. And that was a truly unfortunate moment. It was devastating for me because of the sacrifice that my mom made. And from there, I had to go back on dialysis, which was a tough situation for me. It was devastating. I was struggling uh, internally, psychologically, as you can imagine. So having to adapt to dialysis again was a tough transition. From there, I was on dialysis for 10 years. So I was living in Brooklyn, New York, where I grew up. And the wait time over there to receive a kidney transplant during that time was 8 years. I had family who lived here in Florida, where I currently live, and they offered me an opportunity to move here, where the transplant wait is only 3 years. And after 3 years, after I moved here and living here for 3 years, I received a call that the transplant from a deceased donor. I don't know anything about the donor other than a male who was 42 years old, and that's all I know. And from there, the recovery was extremely difficult. The second time around was extremely difficult because I had um, other issues going on with me, and but eventually I recovered close to a year, and I decided to go after my objectives, which I had put in the back burner because I think your health is the best asset. You cannot do anything without your health. And I found out the hard way. And I had to learn about kidney disease also on the job, as they say. Um, not only about dialysis, kidney disease, but also transplant, the whole transplant process. from there, I was able to pursue my academic goals. I earned a bachelor's and a master's degree in healthcare management. I'm currently a professor, and I teach healthcare management, and I'm also a kidney advocate.
Thank you so much, Mario. Your story is really inspirational. Now, let me tell a little bit about myself. I am originally from India. I was 26 when I came to US to do masters in business analytics, and in 2024 I was diagnosed with a kidney failure all of a sudden, or I think it was a little bit mistake on my side that I went a little too late. I was not feeling well. I went to ER, got myself checked, and after 4 hours of wait, nephrologist came and told me both of my native kidneys have failed and they have shrunk to 6 to 6.5 centimeter. And I did not know that what exactly is even the size of a human kidney is originally supposed to be. And then I was told to I need a kidney transplant as soon as possible, as well as immediately they put me on the dialysis. I actually had a catheter in the neck first for a few days, and then they put a catheter in the chest for 2 months, and then I was transitioned to peritoneal dialysis. I did peritoneal dialysis for 6 months before receiving a call for kidney. I got my kidneys from an infant donor. The kidneys came from Utah. I don't know anything other than that, and I'm doing perfectly okay. But recently, I had a genetic testing done because I never know why my kidneys failed for first 2 years. I have been diagnosed with a rare kidney disease, genetic kidney condition known as Alport syndrome. I'm still trying to learn a little bit about it, but back in 2013, I lost my own father due to kidney failure. He developed peritonitis during the dialysis and then was admitted in hospital for almost 6 months altogether. My mother used to be his primary caregiver, and during his last few days, actually, when he took his last breath, my brother, my mother, and I were by his bedside, and I'd seen my father dying in front of my own eyes.
First and foremost, I want to extend my deepest and sincere condolences to you for your dad's passing. I know that must have been a difficult time. Um, but I think you're doing a great job. You're approaching the whole kidney disease, your condition by learning about it, by educating yourself about it. I think once you're diagnosed with whatever disease that you have, for us it's kidney disease, right? We have to educate ourselves in order to be informed patients and be able to have that communication as well, create relationships with our team, with our dialysis team, with our transplant team. So the more we learn, I think the better that we're going to manage our disease.
Yeah, I absolutely agree because when I started learning about managing myself, firstly in the dialysis, like during the peritoneal dialysis, I think you have been on the dialysis yourself too. You know that they teach the patients and the caregiver how to do the dialysis on themselves and make them responsible for their own life and calculate the habits like how to wash hands properly for 20 seconds, and even in terms of a nutrition tracking, taking care of the medication part, managing all the multiple appointments and scans, and most difficult part, talking to the insurance.
Yeah,
I mean, which some but nobody realizes. And whenever I used to come home from the dialysis center, I had this piles of paper with me.
look at that.
Yep. And I'm actually an engineer by profession. I used to automate these kind of a manual workflows, and I did not know that after kidney disease, I will end up building apps because I hated manual entry work too much, and I learned vibe coding to build applications. That's where it started. Initially, I started building vibe coding application to get a new job because after transplant, I did not had the job. And
Right.
then I was like, I'm frustrated by my nutrition tracking. Let me build a recipe app. I'm frustrated by my medication tracking. Let me build an app for that. Then I don't see any resources. There's so many resources available for patients. There's no directory. Let me build a directory. So I just started building like that and started talking to people and thought,
Yeah.
let me resume back the Kidney Talkies. I initially started this channel in 2024 while I was undergoing dialysis to create short videos to cover my journey during the dialysis and even reach out to people that I'm looking out for a living kidney donor. And then during the transplant and the dialysis and all the recovery time period, I could not get it to the place where I wanted it to be, my initial vision. And now, thanks to God, I'm in the better position to invite people like you to share their journeys and help other kidney patients and even the normal people educate about the kidney health. I have a quick couple of questions for you. So, Mario, since you spend a lot of time on dialysis than me, what
Yes.
kind of a dialysis you were in, and what are some of the things you would advise the people who are watching this video to learn when they are managing dialysis or are actually a caregiver of someone on dialysis?
Okay. So I received the modality because there are two modalities. There are hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, which is the one that you received, correct? Is that the one?
Yes.
So I received, I chose hemodialysis. So I was essentially connected to a machine, and that is through a port or through a fistula, they call it. And I actually learned how to cannulate myself, meaning put in those long needles in my arm. I had to learn how to do that and connect. And the tech used to connect me to the machine. So that is the process of hemodialysis. I did not have a clue what that entailed when I first started, when I began as a patient. I had no clue. It was actually scary because I did not know a thing about dialysis, period. And I didn't know that was something that it was going to happen to me. It didn't even cross my mind. But I decided to learn to be proactive and be an informed patient. So adapting to that modality was extremely difficult at first, but then you adapt. However, um, I got to see a lot of things behind closed doors, and I had to learn from other patients as well. I got to see things that were unfortunate, even people who passed away. I actually was there when two people in my shift, the treatment shift that I used to attend, which was 4:30 in the morning. I've seen stuff like that. So that truly impacted me. So it makes you reflect about your own condition and your own situation. It makes you wonder, when is going to be my time? At least I thought that because I know statistics and data that I look at is it states that 12 to 14 people die each and every day waiting for a kidney transplant. So I was aware of that data back then, and that was a scary thing for me. And these are people who have families, and they tell you stories, and you build relationships with these people. So so yeah, there are a lot of things that I experienced myself in terms of barriers, disparities that exist within the healthcare system and dialysis and the transplant system. That's why I became an advocate later on when I was able to regain control of my life after the second transplant. So that's why I decided to make this a lifelong journey. So circling back to your question, what would a message, what advice would I give a brand new patient? We talked about this in the very beginning of our chat, and that is to inform yourself, to educate yourself about your condition, and do not be afraid to ask for help. That's one of the things I did not do. So I don't want to say that if I was to do it again, I don't want to do that again, but I know that I will make that adjustment. I didn't ask for help. So I struggled in the beginning so much because of that. I think I suffer unnecessarily in certain areas. So there are so many resources out there. Um, there are there are nonprofit organizations that you can search and find help, and that is completely free. And your social worker, your whole entire team can help you find these resources. So speak up, advocate for yourself. So that would be my advice. Educate yourself and advocate for yourself and ask for help.
Can you actually tell some of these organizations where the patients can approach for peer conversations or finding a living kidney donor or even financial resources? Because a lot of patients I even talk to, they don't know what are the financial benefits available to them or even the paratransit benefits.
So I work closely with the National Kidney Foundation. And through that platform, through that organization, they have so they offer so many programs where you can access and which includes peer mentoring and talk to people who are in the same situation as you who are suffering from kidney disease, and you can actually communicate with them, and through them you're able to find resources. They also offer different resources in terms of for patients who are suffering from kidney disease, and another one is the American Kidney Fund. So those two I would recommend. But I'm active with the National Kidney Foundation, and I'm an advocate with them. So they have through their platform or through their organization, I've been able to present bills that protect kidney disease patients. I've traveled to Washington, D.C. and presented bills to our policymakers, especially our representatives here in the state of Florida. So I met with several of them in order to protect us, kidney disease patients, and trying to improve um, the system, the transplant system, the dialysis system, and even protect organ donors and promote it and raise awareness.
Can you actually throw more light on the a couple of bills for the protection of the kidney patients? Because I think even as a patient, even I'm not very informed about a lot of these bills.
Oh, okay. For instance, you have let's start with the donors, right? The Living Donor Protection Act is one of them. So many living donors are afraid to become donors because they are misinformed. That's why it's important to educate the public about organ donation. So organ donation is one way to do it. Or the living donor protection is one piece of policy where it protects the living donor from being fired if they decide to become donors. They don't lose their job, so they're protected. And their healthcare premiums is not going to go up. They're protected because of that through that piece of legislation. So that's it. That's one way to uh, promote and protect living organ donors. As for the us kidney disease patients, one piece of legislation is the access to home dialysis act. I think there's access to home dialysis. You know, we know that transportation is a barrier for several patients, and they don't have a reliable transportation. So that is what's called a social determinant of health. So, given having that option or offering that option to kidney disease patients on dialysis eliminates that barrier. So this policy addresses that issue. So those are two pieces of legislations that I have presented and introduced to our lawmakers here in Florida, in the state of Florida.
That is incredible. I really believe that with the In Kidney Deaths Act for the to protection of living donors, we will definitely improve the number of living donors coming forward. Because I do see a lot of patients waiting for years to get a transplant, and sadly, we lost many of our kidney warriors in that wait time period. You're doing an incredible job, and
Thank you.
and
You
as a
know, I'm sorry.
yeah, as a patient, could you also help other patient to how to even speak up and bring up like uncomfortable questions to the doctors and even their social workers or even financial officers in the transplant clinic or a dialysis clinic, because many patients are afraid, they don't know how to even begin talking.
Oh, yes. Uh, mm, I think that part of building a relationship with your team not only falls on the kidney transplant on the patient, but it's a two-way street. You know, it's a two-way street. I think it requires effort on both ends. So, um, but getting past that fear and and understanding that you have needs that need to, you know, that you need to address in order to maintain your health, your overall health, and you wanted to be able um, to maintain that health, to maintain as healthy as possible. If you don't communicate, you are going to suffer. You're going to continue suffering. That's why you have to overcome that fear and speak up. That's why I say, do not be afraid. Speak up. It doesn't matter. It's not a stupid question that doesn't exist because it's about your health. It's about your overall health. It's about maintaining your health. And they have the resources. I'm telling you, you can, they can, that's their role. For instance, a social worker is a great asset because they have so much information, but you have to speak up. You can't be quiet, you know, express yourself. That's why I say advocate for yourself. Speak up. This is not a time to be quiet, to stay quiet or let fear take over. We cannot allow that anymore because if we stay quiet, there are going to be consequences. Your health is going to continue to decline. You're going to continue to suffer, and you know the worst. You don't want to die. You know, so um, you want to be proactive when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's very important. And I think you were telling something before this question I had asked. Can you repeat what you were telling?
Uh,
Uh,
a question? I'm confused.
Before this question, you were actually saying something, and I cut you off.
Um, Dipti, I forgot.
That's okay. Uh, I have another question. What
Yeah.
is the most difficult part in the kidney journey, not just medically, but emotionally and mentally? What
What
is,
is the most difficult?
yeah, what is the most difficult part in the kidney journey, not just medically, but emotionally and mentally? Because not many people address the emotional well-being and mental health of a kidney patient and their families, what they go through.
Yes, absolutely. And that is something I personally experienced. Um, as I said, you know, social workers are there to help. However, I chose not to speak. I chose to um, take a stand where I would just be quiet and I know I can do it, that type of attitude, which is the wrong attitude. And um, that impacted me tremendously because I was suffering internally, but I was not speaking. I was not talking to the social worker or people who could actually help me. And and I suffer a lot. And so I went through a um, a, a time of depression where I felt I had low and I had rock bottom, where I felt depressed, even though I was attending all of the treatments 3 times a week, 4 hours. Yeah. But I was suffering internally, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, because this is a brutal treatment. It is absolutely brutal. I even think it's inhumane sometimes because of the way I felt. So that had a psychological impact. I was depressed because I was not used to being attached to a machine and dependent on a machine in order to maintain my life. That's crazy. That's wild to me. So I that had definitely had a direct impact in my mental health, but I never seeked any help, and that was a mistake, you know. But I think it's important. That's why I say you have to speak up. You have to communicate with your team because we cannot. I couldn't do it alone. You know, I couldn't do it alone. Still, I still think um, I'm affected by it because it was a pivotal moment in my life. It completely transformed my life. From being an active person, from working full time, from being in college and dropping out of college because I couldn't continue. I couldn't be a productive person. All of those, all that, those changes in my life because of my health definitely had a psychological impact and in me. And I didn't know how to deal with it. All I did was shut down and I was quiet. But that's the wrong approach. Seek help.
I totally agree with you. And I have a follow-up question. Do you think that in this kind of a condition, how much it is useful if a patient goes to a therapist, or is the therapist are even covered under the insurance or Medicare or Medical? Uh,
What is,
I meant like, do you think that in such kind of a condition, the patient should seek therapist help, and is the therapist covered under the Medicare or Medical? If you could share some light on that.
absolutely, undoubtedly. You should, if you are, if you have access through your insurance, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance, utilize that service because we all need it. Whether we are on dialysis or not, we need it. We need a person that we can confide in and a professional. I'm not talking about just anybody, your homeboy, your homegirl. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a therapist, a professional. So it's important to seek help and use your coverage, use your insurance. That's why you pay the premiums. That's why you pay the co-payments, right? So that's why the insurance is available to you. So make use of it.
Yeah, that was an important lesson. And I, if someone is listening today and has just been diagnosed with a kidney disease or is waiting for a transplant, what message would you like them to hear?
Oh man, educate yourself. And if you have people around you, if you have support, a support system, that is extremely helpful. But have an open mind to what's going on in your life, to the changes that are happening in your life, because I know it's scary. I know it's something new. I know you don't understand it, and it's difficult. There's so many challenges as well. There's so many setbacks, barriers that you need to face each and every day. Um, but you have to continue. You have to continue fighting and communicate with your team because if you educate yourself, I'm telling you, it makes a difference. So um, become a student of your disease. Learn about it. Um, ask questions, uh, and um, and and follow the renal diet as well, because also make sure that you are mindful of your water intake if you're in dialysis, because that's a major thing. The excess water, excess liquid and toxins build up in your body. So you have to be disciplined and consistent with with your diet and how you manage your nutrition. Um, no high potassium foods, no high phosphorus foods, so you have to follow that in order to be able, that's why you need to be informed. Read everything, all the pamphlets that they give you with their information. So yeah, become informed, become a student of your illness or your disease.
Thank you so much, Mario. I think your story is very inspirational and hope it helps the people listening this video to navigate the kidney disease and learn about more about self-advocacy and different bills which are there to protect them. And we're looking forward to having you more on the Kidney Talkies to share more of these insights. And I have one couple of rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Describe Mario in one word.
I've become grateful. Grateful is the word of the day.
Uh, do you like beaches or hills?
50, man. uh, Live in Florida. As a kid, I used to. I'm gonna go with beaches. I'll go with beaches.
What is your comfort food?
Favorite food?
Comfort food.
Wow. It's comfort food. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so pizza.
Uh, Favorite dessert?
Oh man. Um, Anything with caramel.
Mm, that
I
sounds
love caramel.
that sounds delicious. What is your favorite holiday in season?
Mm. Oh my goodness. Um, I don't know. I would say my son's birthday. My son's birthday. My son's birthday is not a holiday, obviously, but but is my favorite date because when he was born, I was going through so many issues with my health, with kidney disease, and I was working so many things, and that was the bright spot on my life at that particular time. So his birth, that's my favorite date, I say.
And looking back into time, what has been your favorite holidays with your family, especially your son?
Yeah. Besides my son. Um, well, I'd say, in December, like Christmas and New Year's, because that's the time when the entire family gets together and possibly the only time that we see each other. So definitely the end of the year.
And if one place in the earth you would like to visit, which it would be?
Hmm. There's a bucket list, but um, I would like to go. I was born in Honduras, so two places, Honduras and Italy. Those two places. I haven't been there in so long. So
And my last question, what is your favorite sports?
sports.
Yep. And in
Oh,
America, we always
see,
talk about football, and right now the Football World Cup is going on.
you. That's probably my favorite question. So I'm a sports guy, so I like soccer, football, baseball, and basketball. And of course, I'm super happy because the next one, they're the champions. So I have to say that. I have to throw that in there. So yeah, those are my favorite sports.
Okay. Thank you. And I give you a chance to ask me rapid fire questions.
Well, you have to do the rapid fires for yourself now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to flip it because you're asking me some tough questions.
I think I would choose beaches any day because I used to live in LA for 2 years before moving to San Jose, and I still
Okay,
miss beaches. I love
okay.
San Jose because I have a job here, I have a lot of friends here, but I miss going to the beach on the weekends and biking on the sunny side up. I'm used to, I mean, my favorite memory of the Los Angeles still remains waking up early in the morning, renting the bikes from Venice Beach and going all the way to Santa Monica and spending the entire day on the beach.
You can't do that anymore with if you are a kidney transplant recipient because of the immunosuppressants. We're not allowed to be under the sun. Remember?
Yes, so that's why I'm actually grateful to be in the San Jose.
Hmm.
And I think we had a great time. So thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to our podcast today. Bye bye.
Take care.